Shannon Symonds. This is chapter 13. I'm reading my book aloud so that I can find errors, so I'll probably be a little sketchy. It's not a true actor doing a great job. So, chapter 13. The Bennets had gone back to their cabin to pack when Ivy watched Jack's truck, Precious, and John leave. On the way, he passed Aggie and Jenny in Jenny's van, bringing the breakfast supplies. Jenny looked confused as she waved, and he didn't. Ivy took her cell phone out of her pocket. It was dead. She pulled her burner out from her other pocket. She'd missed a call from Darlene. And it was only 6:30. So much had happened, and it was barely time to serve breakfast. The dry run was over, thankfully. Looking thoroughly confused, Jenny and Aggie left the van doors open and hustled across the lawn towards Ivy and Anderson. What happened? Ivy opened her mouth to fill her in, when a squad car returned and parked by Jenny. Wait, why are they back? A Balefire police officer Ivy didn't recognize pulled onto the grass. He unfolded his tall, thin frame as he got out of an older squad car. After adjusting his duty belt and pants, he put aviators on and walked toward them. Miss Kelly, can you come with me? Can I ask why? Ivy wrung her hands, concern drawing her eyes together, setting her cheeks on fire. She couldn't see his eyes behind his sunglasses. Expressionless, he said. The chief has some questions. Now? Ivy asked. Get in my car, miss. He put both hands on his hips. She looked down and realized how she must look. Can I change before and get my backpack? Now, ma'am. Ma'am? Ivy thought. Her mind scrolled through everything that would make the chief send an officer to pick her up. She knew she was in trouble. Her burner phone rang and vibrated. It was Darlene. She couldn't answer the phone in front of the officer. Jenny, I found your phone, Ivy said, handing Jenny the burner phone. Didn't miss a beat. Thanks, I was looking for it. The officer held the door open for Ivy, who slid in onto the hard plastic seat. After he slammed her door, she realized that there weren't any handles on the inside. He got in the driver's seat and without speaking started the car. She looked out the back window and watched Jenny watch her, growing smaller in the distance, as they drove away. Without a seat belt and a steel cage between the officer and her, she slid every time he took a turn. Ivy's stomach churned as she sat alone in one of the interview rooms. Every minute felt like an hour as time passed. Finally, a female officer with tight black curls opened her door. Do you need any water or to use the bathroom, ma'am? My name is Ivy, and yes, I would love to use the restroom. I'm Officer Beck. The officer held the door open for her and motioned her down the hall towards dispatch. Connor rounded the corner, head down in his full uniform, and nearly ran into them. Hey, the female officer said. Sorry, Beck. He watched Ivy as they passed with his eyes drawn together, scowling. Beck? Yes? What's she doing here? Connor asked. The chief has some questions. Beck pushed her toward a small bathroom. He isn't going to be back in today. He's with Veronica and Roger and Eugene for a while, Connor said. Shut up with him. I'm just doing what he asked me to. Beck gave Ivy a gentle push into the bathroom, turned the lights on, and shut the door. Ivy closed her eyes and took a long, jagged breath. Why do they want me? We don't have any probable cause. We can't hold her forever. I'm going to call him. She heard Connor talking loudly to Beck through the door. Don't you have a conflict of interest? Beck said. What? Connor sounded incredulous, but Ivy knew it might be true. Jerry at Medics told dispatch. Who told me you were hanging all over each other? Beck laughed. Listen. Don't tell her, but we have two people saying they saw her at the cliff when he went over, and even though one of the witnesses couldn't keep their story straight, there was a window of opportunity for her to have pushed him off the cliff. The chief doesn't want her to leave town before he sorts it out. Connor was silent. I'll call the chief. Be careful of passing on gossip like that. This is a harassment-free, safe zone. Beck laughed louder. Connor was gone when the bathroom door opened. Beck walked behind Ivy until she was back in the holding room. After letting Ivy in, she slammed the door shut and locked it. Beck came back in, handed her a paper cup with water in it, and left. Ivy checked. The door was still locked. After sipping the water for a few minutes, she decided to put her head down on the table and try to sleep. A knock on the door woke Ivy from a troubled sleep. When she lifted her head from her folded arms, a long string of drool went from her to the table. She wiped her mouth with her sleeve. There was a movement outside the door. Connor unlocked it and came in. Chief is releasing you to my custody. I told him you're innocent. He says I've got a clear conflict of interest. What made him think there's a conflict of interest? Ivy raised her brows and waited almost a full minute before Connor spoke. I told him I was crazy about you and knew you could never push anyone off a cliff, Connor said. Ivy's brows rose. She tilted her head. And what did he say to that? That I'm an idiot for sticking my neck out for you or any other woman.